Get lumped up tonight. Listen to Rob Rossi and Rock a Mine on the only podcast that I'll hear that won't make me wanna rip off my ears. Oh, the Rock Show, the Rock Show, the Rock Show, the Rock Show, the Rock Show. The Rock Show, oh, I want the Rock Show. The Rock Show, 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 the Rock Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rock Show. I'm Rocker Mike. This is Rob Rossi to your left. And we're into episode 193 today, which is the second part of our Led Zeppelin series, part 2. We're going to talk about, this part is mostly, I'd say, the aftermath and the ensuing years since the end of Led Zeppelin. The story does not end with the sad and untimely death of John Bonham. The band is still, even though they're not as Led Zeppelin, but they're still involved in the music industry today. We're also going to talk about the legacy of the band and who they've influenced and all that good stuff. So how you doing, Rob?
Pretty good. Let me show the cover of the last two albums we talk about.
Okay. It's Presence.
Present, and then this is the last one.
In Through the Outdoor. Yeah, if you were watching the last show, we didn't have those pictures up right away, but that was the last two albums. There you go. Got a bunch of stuff there.
I got a lot of
classic imagery, classic rock and roll imagery. Cool. 3, Led Zeppelin 1. Yeah. We'll talk about that Mothership record in this episode.
Yeah, they got so many stuff. Look at that.
Right. Coda, that would be their final release posthumously after the band broke up. All right, so basically after the band was dissolved, the first serious musical project done by any of its members was the Honey Drippers, which was Robert Plant's concept. Okay, he formed it in 1981. The group consisted of himself on vocals, Jimmy Page on lead guitar, and studio musicians who were also friends with the band, Jeff Beck, Paul Schaefer, Schaefer.
Is that Paul Schaefer from David Letterman?
Yes. And Nile Rodgers. Okay. I think the Nile Rodgers is an interesting member because he was really known for being a member of Chic. Okay. And he also produced Duran Duran, and he was
he's the one that opened the Duran Duran concert, because he also helped he did some song with some other band with Def Punk. He did a song.
Yeah, he's been around for
Now Roger, he opened up. He was actually very good.
Yeah, he's a very talented guy, great producer too.
Yeah, but he can actually play a guitar, because he opened up for Duran Duran. They even had him come on and play one of his songs. He had some pretty good women singer too.
He's fantastic, that guy. I've never seen him live, but he's great. Now, the idea of the Honey Drippers was a little bit different, very different than Led Zeppelin. Okay, he was playing more standards, more of an R&B style. If you remember, he did a cover of Sea of Love.
Okay?
Yeah. And that got to number 3, actually, on Billboard charts in early 1985. They released one album that came out in 84. All right. So then Coda would be the final collection of Zeppelin outtakes and unused tracks. That came out in November of 1982. It also included 2 tracks from the Royal Albert Hall in 1970. One each from the Led Zeppelin 3 and then the House of Holy sessions, and 3 tracks from the In Through the Outdoor sessions. It also featured a 1976 Bonham drum instrumental with electronic effects added by Page called Bonzo's Montreux. Just kind of like a wrap it up. Let's put out everything else we got. I mean, other things would come out over the years, but that was the last release under the Zeppelin name. Huh?
That was probably more like a tribute album to all the stuff, to all the work they did, you know?
Yeah, well, they put out one more under the Zeppelin name, you know? So then on July 13th, 1985, among a lot of anticipation, I remember them talking about this way ahead of time, Page, Plant, and John Paul Jones reunited for the Live Aid show in Philadelphia. That was at the JFK Stadium, okay?
Yep.
They played a short set featuring 2 drummers, Tony Thompson and Phil Collins, the Phil Collins, okay? They also had bassist Paul Martinez play as well. Collins had contributed to Plant's first 2 solo albums, while Martinez was a member of Plant's solo band. The performance, however, was considered not great. They didn't rehearse much before with the 2 drummers. Page struggled with an out-of-tune guitar. There was some poorly functioning monitors at the stadium. Plant's voice was a little hoarse. Basically, Page and Plant called it a, awful performance between the 2 of them. But, it was cool to see Zeppelin, sort of Zeppelin, 3/4 of Zeppelin, on stage for the first time in quite a few years. The 3 members then reunited again on May 14th, 1988 for Atlantic Records' 40th anniversary concert with Jason Bonham on drums. That was John's son. The result again was a little disjointed. Plant and Page had argued immediately prior to taking the stage about whether to play Stairway to Heaven or not, and Jones' keyboards were absent from the live television feed. Page described the performance as one big disappointment, and Plant said that the gig was foul. These guys were not exactly getting along too good.
But they were also kind of perfectionists. They wanted to make it look good, but you know what? Sometimes you can't do it. You can't make everything perfect all the time. You got to struggle a little bit sometimes.
Right. And you got to rehearse a little bit too. I think that, especially when you get even older, you know what I'm saying? Now, the first Led Zeppelin box set, which featured tracks remastered under Page's supervision, was released in 1990 and bolstered the band's reputation as one of the best bands of all time. Rumors were abounding again that they might reunite. The band quickly put that to rest.
Yeah.
And the set actually included 4 previously unreleased tracks, including a version of Robert Johnson's Traveling Riverside Blues.
Robert Johnson, that's another guy. That's a great guitar player.
Oh, yeah. So many of the British guys, played his stuff, ripped them off, everything,
Yeah.
Now, the song peaked at number 7, which was the Traveling Riverside Blues, peaked at number 7 on Billboard album rock charts. Led Zeppelin box set 2 would come out in 1993. Between the 2 sets altogether, all known studio recordings were on them, as well as some rare live tracks. In 94, Page and Plant reunited for a 90-minute unplugged MTV project.
I remember watching that on TV.
Yeah, it was called Unleaded. I watched that too. I remember it. They later would release an album called No Quarter, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant Unleaded, which featured some reworked Zeppelin songs and embarked on a world tour the following year. This is said to be the beginning of a rift between the band members, as Jones was not even told about the reunion. Okay. In fact, he found out about it just reading about it in the paper.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, nobody called him to ask him to be involved or anything, or that they were doing it, nothing. In 95, Led Zeppelin was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Joe Perry also was inducting them in. Jason and Zoe Bonham also attended, representing their late father. At the induction ceremony, the band's inner rift became apparent when John Paul Jones joked upon accepting the award, "Thank you, my friends, for finally remembering my phone number." Okay, now that actually, I remember seeing that, and Page and Plant like looked at each other like, what? Like, what like they were really confused. So they played one brief set with Tyler and Perry and Jason Bonham on drums, and then a second set they played with Neil Young, this time with Michael Lee playing the drums. So that was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 1997, Atlantic released a single edit of Whole Lotta Love in the US and the UK, the only single the band released in their homeland, where it peaked at number 21. Back in the day, those singles that were all released, they were never released in England. They were
wow.
The few that were released were only released in the United States. It actually got to number 21. Okay,
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, November of '97 saw the release of the Led Zeppelin BBC sessions, which was a 2-disc set, basically recorded between '69 and '71. Page and Plant released another album called Walking into Clarksdale in 1998, featuring all new material, but it didn't sell good, and they were supposed to go on an Australian tour, but the whole project dissolved because there really wasn't much of an interest. The year 2003 saw the release of the triple live album How the West Was Won and Led Zeppelin DVD, a 6-hour chronological set of live footage that became the best-selling music DVD in history.
Wow.
What's got to be mentioned is prior to this, there really wasn't much live Zeppelin material out there other than bootlegs.
Yeah, bootleg.
There were a lot of bootlegs. They never had a real like official live album in their time, which, parts of the soundtrack of Song Remains the Same as live, and there was some outtakes here and there, but a real proper live album they never really did until this triple live album, How the West Was Won, which is excellent. In July of 2007, Atlantic got together with Rhino and Warner Home Video and announced 3 Zeppelin titles to be released that November. Mothership, which is a 24-track best of spanning the band's career, a reissue of the soundtrack of The Song Remains the Same, including previously unreleased material, and a new DVD. Zeppelin also made their catalog legally available for download when they were actually one of the last major rock bands to do that. That was in 2007. On December 10th, 2007, the band reunited for the Ahmet Ertegun tribute concert at the O2 Arena in London. Jason Bonham was on drums, okay? And according to the Guinness Book of World Records of 2009, the show set a record for the highest demand for tickets for one music concert, as 20 million requests were submitted online. Critics praised the performance, and there was widespread speculation of a full-blown reunion. Page Jones and Jason Bonham were reported to be willing to tour and to be working on material for a new Zeppelin project. Plant continued his touring commitments with Alison Krauss, who he's played with her for years, stating in September 2008 that he would not record or tour with the band. He basically told them he was busy and they'd have to wait. He said he would come around eventually, which he thought that they were fine with, but all of a sudden they weren't. And Plant is on record saying that, it was disheartening and Jimmy used it against him. Okay.
Wow.
Jones and Page at that point were considering replacing Robert Plant for a reunion tour of Zeppelin. Candidates included Steven Tyler and Miles Kennedy of a band called Alter Bridge. However, in January of 2009, it was confirmed that the project had been abandoned. Just really couldn't get that off the ground without Plant in the fold, A film of the other O2 performance was called Celebration Day, and that premiered on October 17th, 2012, and was released on DVD on November 19th. The film grossed $2 million in one night, and the live album peaked at number 4 and 9 in the UK and US, respectively. Following the film's premiere, Page revealed that he had been remastering the band's discography. The first wave of albums, starting with Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, and actually those 3, will come out on June 2nd, 2014. Then the second wave would be Led Zeppelin 4 and Houses of the Holy will come out on October 27th, 2014. Physical Graffiti was released on February 23rd, 2015, almost exactly 40 years to the day of its
Hey,
original
with this,
release.
these were remastered, right, or just
Remastered.
original copies?
Remastered by Jimmy Page. Okay.
Good.
The fourth and final wave of studio album releases was Presence, In Through the Outdoor, and Coda, and they came out July 31st, 2015. I remember when all that stuff came out, it was over a short period of time. They released their entire catalog with, all the original artwork and, everything remastered. It was a nice package. Now, through this remastering project, each studio album was reissued on CD and vinyl and was also available in a deluxe edition each, which contained a bonus disc of previously unheard material. Coda's edition would actually come with 2 bonus discs.
Ooh.
Okay. Each set was 180-gram vinyl, which is very good vinyl. Okay. High definition audio, and a book came with each. A hardbound book came with the vinyl. Okay. Had previously released photos, memorabilia, and definitely like high quality reprinting of the album cover.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah, it was a nice set. Expensive too, but nice.
Yeah, I think when I saw it, it might have been like $200, $250 or something like that.
Yeah, 150, something like that. I mean, they've been doing that with a lot of albums. They did it with the Velvet Underground. They did it with the Ramones. They did it with Lou Reed, for instance. That came out with a bunch of albums.
You know what? I saw that album. I think I remember HMV.
Yeah.
They had like the box sets and shit like that.
That was a good store. So later in the year, on November 6, 2015, the Mothership compilation was reissued using the band's newly remastered audio tracks. The reissuing campaign continued the next year with the re-release of BBC Sessions on September 16, 2016. The reissue contained a bonus disc with 9 unreleased BBC recordings, including the heavily bootlegged but never officially released Sunshine Woman. And to commemorate the band's 50th anniversary, Page, Plant, and Jones announced an official illustrated book celebrating 50 years since the band was formed. Also released for the celebration was a reissue of How the West Was Won on March 23rd, 2018, which included the album's first pressing on vinyl. That was for Record Store Day, okay, coming up in Record Store Day on April 21st, 2018. Zeppelin released a 7-inch single of Rock and Roll with a song called Friends on the back, their first single in 21 years.
Wow.
Yep, Record Store Day. In October of 2020, Page released a photo collection called Jimmy Page, The Anthology, confirming a band documentary for the band's 50th anniversary. An upcoming documentary film called Becoming Led Zeppelin is in post-production. It is the first time band members have agreed to participate in a biographical documentary. That has not come out yet. Okay. We're waiting for that. And I'm looking forward to that. I guess COVID probably slowed it down if it started in 2020. It'll be good to see these guys get on the same page and tell the story,
I wonder if they're going to do it like the Kiss one. The Kiss one was pretty good.
Kisstory?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very good.
Kisstory. It was good.
Exactly.
If they did something like that, it wouldn't be bad.
Right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the musical style of Zepp, all right? What their influences were and some things about their albums that are interesting. Now, obviously, their music was rooted in the blues.
Definitely blues. Very bluesy.
When we talk about that, we're talking about Muddy Waters, Skip James, Howlin' Wolf, okay? Particularly on their first 2 albums, you hear that a lot. A lot of 12-bar blues style songs. Also, but if you hear it on Led Zeppelin 3, Celtic music, American folk music was an influence.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. They there was a folk guitarist from Scotland named Bert Jansch, who was very influential to Page because he taught him open tuning with the guitar. And that's something that I know Keith Richards was into, open tuning and things like that. And it just makes a very unique sound with the playing. Also jazz. Okay. Jazz was always an influence.
Country, funk, soul, even reggae, all that stuff.
Soul music. Okay. You know what was John Bonham's favorite music?
With what?
Motown.
Motown. Yeah, I can see that.
And we're going to be talking about Motown in February.
Yep.
Okay. So, reggae would come. There'd be reggae music on Houses of the Holy. Okay. Reggae style.
Yeah.
Okay. The material on the first two albums were largely constructed out of extended jams of blues standards and folk songs. This method led to the mixing of musical and lyrical elements of different songs and versions, as well as improvised passages to create new material, but would lead to later accusations of plagiarism. Okay. Now, this is something I don't want to get into it too much. It's kind of like one of the main criticisms of Led Zeppelin, that they kind of ripped off these old bands. Yes and no. Now, what's your thought on it? I'll give you my thought after.
You know what I think? I don't think they ripped them off. I just think they took music and they changed it to be to their style. They didn't really rip them off, but they probably heard something. They said, you know what, we can recreate this like this or do it like this. That's what it was. It wasn't, like there was a lot of like we were talking about Robert Johnson. That's a guy that a lot of his song got pretty much stolen and recreated.
The Rolling Stones covered Love in Vain.
Yeah, they pretty much stole it, and they say we made this, but like I don't think Led Zeppelin did that. They just heard, they were influenced by a lot of musicians, so they used it out of the style and method that they used to play the music. That's what I think it was. I don't think they rip anybody off.
Now, I mean, if you listen to How Many More Times, okay, off the first album, and then you listen to Howlin' Wolves, How Many More Years?
Yeah.
All right, it's the same song. All right, the same song. This
but
was
it's a concept. It's a little different. It's not faded.
No, it's not exactly the same. I shouldn't say it's exactly the same, but you can hear it. That's where they got it from.
Yeah.
Now, that being said,
that studios that's being influential. It's influence. They use this background. Dude, music, they've been doing that for years. There's many songs that sound like other songs, but people get this harmony that might sound, and then they make different lyrics, different stuff. It's not the same song. They just might have used to beat for a little bit. There's hundreds of music that one day you'll listen to, and then you listen to that, and you'll be like, oh, I know where this guy got this from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the British bands all did that. The Yardbirds did it. Stones did it. They all, Paul Butterfield Band, a lot of these like blues guys, John Mayall, a lot of these blues guys,
he's great. I saw him live in BB King.
Well, and what was happening at the same time is the original blues guys that were still around were going to England and they were cleaning house, man. They were making money hand over fist.
But Mike, think about, there wouldn't be any British music if it wasn't for blues singers, stuff like that, because that's what the biggest influence. Most British singers, even the Beatles, from the Beatles to the rock, they were all influenced by these blues singers that had these old school songs.
Right, exactly. That is true. And one thing I want to talk about briefly is John Paul Jones. He's kind of the unsung hero of Led Zeppelin. I don't know, a lot of people think he's the quiet one, like George Harrison was the quiet Beatle.
Yeah.
He was the quiet one, but all of them agree that they couldn't have had the band without him. He basically did all the arrangements. He would arrange the songs. I mean, and he was involved very much with the producing. Okay. They had outside producers, but they did a lot of things themselves too. And they were involved, he was very involved with that. If you think about the arrangement on Stairway to Heaven, that's John Paul Jones that did that. Okay. Page came up with the song and which is kind of a interesting, he has talked about how he wanted to start something that starts off slow and then gets heavier, but the arrangement all came together with John Paul Jones. And he had a lot of knowledge of producing and stuff from his time in sessions and things like that. So very talented guy, can't go without saying. Now, let me ask you about like the influences. Who was influenced by Led Zeppelin? What do you think? What's the more obvious ones?
Definitely. Who was influenced by Led Zeppelin?
Everybody after them, right?
I think everybody after that, man, they were all like, they all want to do supergroup, but I think most, if you look at Led Zeppelin, like every other band that came from like all those hair band, metal bands, all that stuff that came out, they were definitely influenced by the freaking Led Zeppelin. I think like even from you could say White Snake, and I think White Snake sucks. Even from Motley Crue, I think all these guys saw that format and say, dude, we can make a super group and we can go out there and play music and make some money. But nobody did it like Zeppelin. Zeppelin was like a whole different level,
Yeah. Well, I think when you have to talk about what's their legacy towards the people after, it's kind of like two categories. You have obviously the musical influence that they left on people, okay, and you have the way that they carried themselves as a band and what the trail that they blazed for touring and for how to handle tours and managers and all that, and big tours. I mean, this band was constantly on tour. Okay, it's amazing. Any other band would have burned out. I don't know how they did it.
No, but if you look at how many they took out record after record after record, and any bands that we've seen that do that, they do very good, but they also burn out quickly. Like it's like a between a 10 to 20 year span, and then they just can't do it again. Like a great sample was the guy from Boston. He just did 3 iconic albums, but he couldn't take an album every couple of years. He would take an album that went like 3-4 years, but like the freaking Zeppelin. The first year they took out 2 albums. How many people do that? It's unheard of.
The guy from Boston, Tom, whatever, I forgot his last name, but he was a perfectionist. That's why he took so long. I don't know how much of a perfectionist Page and Plant were, but they worked fast.
Beefeater was another one too.
Who?
Captain Beefeater?
Beefheart.
Beefheart. That guy was another guy that his band hated him because he wanted to be so perfect.
Right. He was such a perfectionist, but he still put out quite a bit of material.
Miles Davis, remember? He would make the guys like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Page and Plant, because I think both of them wrote so much. They had so much music ahead of them. The rhyme that was easy. Like they'll be like, here's the lyrics. I already wrote this a few years ago. Let's take this out. So what do you do when you got a bunch of songs? It's easier to release an album like that.
Yeah. Now there's some kind of like unlikely influenced artists that you might not think about Zeppelin. For instance, the Ramones. Okay.
Oh yeah, the Ramones definitely.
Okay. Now how could the Ramones be influenced by Led Zeppelin? They were kind of the antithesis. Well, not really, because when you listen to a song like Communication Breakdown, which came in 1969, the riffs on that are just 3-chord, stuff that Johnny Ramone could have played 5 years later, which he did. Okay. And he actually admitted that was an influential song to the band. So, you have that. Now, obviously, if you say if the Ramones are influenced by you, then everybody after the Ramones is, whether they like it or not.
But look at Kurt Cobain when he talked about Led Zeppelin. He said those guys were so huge influence on him. Like he said he was taking talk, smoking weed, just listen to Zeppelin, and everything came to his mind. There's a lot of guys. I'm telling you, there's hundreds of bands that if it wasn't for Zeppelin, half of the bands we know today would have never formed.
Well, you wouldn't have had, say, the Black Crowes.
No.
Okay. Even Queen had to be influenced by them to some degree. Okay. Aerosmith also. Okay. Then even stuff like the Scorpions. You want to say Whitesnake, you could say Whitesnake. And a lot of the progressive metal bands like Tool and Dream Theater.
Oh yeah, those guys
of Zeppelin in them too.
What's funny? Tool's playing Madison Square Garden tomorrow, but they're only playing the new albums, and that songs are long too. They're like 13, 12 minutes So
I can't watch that shit.
I was like, I can't go there.
Nah. Who's going? Is Big Mike going?
Oh no, I'm not saying. Some people were talking about going to tour. So the
Yeah,
tour tomorrow. I'm not.
that's a band. I think Big Mike likes that band. Anyway.
No, he likes Fish.
Oh, that's it. That's right. Now,
And Fish.
Shout out to Big Mike if you're listening. But there's some unlikely, people too. You had the Ramones, but also Joy Division said Zeppelin was an influence. The Cult obviously is an influence by them. Smashing Pumpkins.
Yes.
You mentioned that in the last episode with them doing a cover of Stairway.
Oh, it was a beautiful cover.
Soundgarden, right?
Soundgarden is another fucking Soundgarden. They're another very good. Chris Cornell, all those guys, like all that, that whole grunge thing pretty much came out of a weird kind of Zeppelin kind of thing because they were adding that moody, that dark. It was interesting. It was definitely an interesting time, but then there were too many grunge bands. It became a big fucking garbage.
It became a joke of itself, basically.
Yeah.
And the other, like I was saying, the other part of it, the other category is really how they were an impact in the nature of the music business. One quote that I have here is by John Callender. He was an A&R executive.
You know who else? One of your guys, Alice Cooper was a big Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, absolutely. Even
the Beastie Boys, Metallica, you got like a bunch of guys.
Yeah, and just for so many reasons, not just musically, the way they carried themselves and the way they changed business for people, But I was going to say, there's a guy named John Callender who worked for Geffen Records. There's a quote here. It says, "In my opinion, next to the Beatles, they're the most influential band in history. They influenced the way music is on records, AOR radio, which means album-oriented rock radio, concerts. They set the standard for the AOR radio format with Stairway to Heaven, having AOR hits without necessarily having top 40 hits. They're the ones who did the first real big arena concert shows, consistently selling out and playing stadiums without support. People can do as well as them, but nobody surpasses them."
Nah, nobody. I don't think. And you know what I think it was? I think it was the way they were managed by not letting too many singles. So if you wanted the album, if you wanted the song, you had to buy the album, and then you would probably just bought the album for that song, and then you winded up listening to the whole album and say, "Damn, this is pretty good." I think that was one of the reasons they did so well.
Right.
And they also didn't do too many TV stuff. So if you wanted to see them, you got to pay, which is not a bad. It's not bad.
No, I mean it was Peter Grant was again. I said it earlier. You could do a whole podcast on him. He really set the mold for this. Okay, it was his baby and his idea to promote them in this way. He got the record contract with Atlantic to stipulate that they could promote their albums and themselves the way they wished. Nobody had that. Okay. No. And they were signed without even being heard. I mean, that's just incredible,
Yeah, you know what's funny? Another band I forgot to mention also, you got the Red Hot Chili Pepper, were definitely influenced by it.
Sure. I mean, it goes, there's even the Stone Roses out of England. There's elements of Zeppelin in them. Now, the band in total sold over 200 million albums worldwide. Now, some say it's over 300 million. Depends on how you figure it out. They sold there's including 111.5 million certified records just in the United States. All right, that's crazy. Incredible. Now, according to the Recording Industry Association of America, Led Zeppelin are the third highest selling band, the fifth highest selling music act in the U.S., and one of only 4 acts to earn 5 or more diamond albums. They achieved 8 consecutive number ones on the UK album charts, a record for most consecutive UK number one albums shared only with ABBA. Led Zeppelin remains one of the most bootlegged artists in the history of rock music as well.
Hey, Mike, did they win any Grammys?
Well, we're going to talk about their awards coming up. Okay, now their achievements, they've got a lot of them, a lot of awards and achievements. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995.
Yeah.
the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2006. The band's awards are an American Music Award in 2005, the Polar Music Prize in 2006, and they got a Grammy Lifetime Achievement in 2005. So yes, they did get a Grammy. Okay,
but they never got a Grammy for one of the albums. Or
no,
anything, right?
well, 4 of their recordings have been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame after the fact. Okay, but actual winning like album of the year, they never got that. Okay, they never got.
That's kind of a shame because
There's no way. Look, in the 70s, there is no way Led Zeppelin was going to get.
Yeah.
The Stones never got one.
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay, the industry was totally different. The award, there was no way that was going to happen. Okay, now they've been awarded 5 diamond albums as well as 14 multi-platinum, 4
impressive.
platinum, and 1 gold album in the United States. While in the UK, they have 5 multi-platinum, 6 platinum, 1 gold, and 4 silver albums. Rolling Stone magazine named Led Zeppelin the 14th greatest artist, they call it artist, of all time in 2004. I would have put them higher than that, but that's okay. Basically, I mean, it goes even like they received like personal awards as well. Like in 2005, Jimmy Page was appointed as Officer of the Order of the British Empire in recognition of his charity work. And in 2009, Plant was honored as a Commander of the Order of the British Empire for his services to popular music. That's pretty incredible. I don't know if that makes them sirs. I don't think so, but it's close to it.
Yeah.
I never hear them referred to as like, Sir Robert Plant.
No.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the influence of this band, and just to go over the discography again, these are the actual albums that came out in their time. Led Zeppelin in 69, Led Zeppelin 2 in 69, Led Zeppelin 3 in 70, the Untitled or 4th album in 71, Houses of the Holy in 73, Physical Graffiti in 75, Presence in 76, and In Through the Outdoor in 79, and Coda coming out in 83, I think it was. That's it. And you think about that, and all through the 70s, how important they were, and it's going on 50 years, and they're still listened to, they're still played on the radio, they're still getting new fans all the time. There's still an interest in these guys, and they're all pushing 80 years old.
And it's incredible. What a history, what a legacy of music and records, and it's amazing. I told you, I saw Page and Pan in the Garden. It was probably one of the best shows I ever see, and they were just playing. They went on and on without even a problem.
They played for about 3 hours, if I remember.
It was insane. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was there.
They were out there rocking and doing the thing, man. And you know what they did? They didn't miss it. They didn't miss a beat. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember when Puff Daddy did Kashmir or Immigrant Song? Immigrant Song he did, right?
Yeah.
Which one did he do?
He did Kashmir.
Kashmir.
It was for the Godzilla.
For the Godzilla movie. Remember that? And Page was in the video with him.
Yeah, but Page got shit for that.
Yeah, well, it looks stupid him being in that video, to be honest.
Yeah, but you know what he did? He was, for Page,
Page doesn't care.
He doesn't give a fuck. He enjoyed it. He got a nice little payday. And
sure.
He kept going, You can't hate people for getting a payday, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And then put that song back on place because people weren't listening to the Puff Daddy one. They were listening to the original Kashmir after that. Yep. Think about it. Kashmir came back into play after they got back in the top 40 after that song.
Right, right. One band we forgot to talk about was The Firm.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't bring that up. I forgot to bring that up. Just a band that Page had in the mid 80s with Paul Rogers from Bad Company. It was okay. I think they had 2 albums. It was an MTV thing. They had a lot of songs on MTV. Actually, it was funny. I was driving a couple weeks ago in the car, and I always have Little Steven's Underground Garage on satellite. And they played a track from the Firm, like All the King's Men, I think it's called, or something like that. Yeah. And it just, to me, it sounded really dated. It just sounded like 280s. I was like, yeah, I never really liked this too much.
Yeah,
But
there's some bands that you're listening to that you're like,
yeah.
that you're like, they never really evolve.
It's the same with films. Like one movie that it's a great movie, but I think the music sounds so dated that it hurts the movie is Scarface.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know,
Scarface, yeah.
you
But
know.
then also, if you're into that, you're gonna like that stuff.
No, I
You
love
know?
gangster shit. I mean, it's a great film, but in the scheme of all the other films out there, it's kind of on the bottom.
You
You
want to
know?
hear something funny? And I was talking to somebody. The Giants quarterback.
Yeah.
His name is Tommy DeVito.
DeVito, yeah, the Italian kid.
What movie was Tommy? The name Tommy DeVito character was in.
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito was in a very popular movie.
What?
Goodfellas.
No, that's not
Joe
Tommy DeVito. I knew you
Pesci's
was gonna. No, Tommy's not. Tommy's name was
Joe in Goodfellas.
No,
his
it's
name
not
was
DeVito. It's
Tommy
it's like
DeVito.
DeSimone or something like that.
No, it was Tommy. He
Oh,
played.
no,
I guarantee you.
No,
They
I'm
named
gonna.
that kid
No,
after
no.
Tommy for Goodfellas because he's old enough to be like that.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna look this up,
Look it
buddy.
up.
Tommy. Oh shit, you're right. You suck.
I'm telling you, I don't make this shit up. How much of what?
You know what? Oh wait, no. You're right. You know what? But I'm right too. The real life character's name is Tommy DeSimone that he was based on.
Oh yeah, I know, but they weren't going to call it.
They didn't call him that. They called him DeVito. You're right. You're right.
I'm telling you, the parents probably had the name DeVito. The father, so stay by son Tommy.
Tommy DeVito. Yeah.
DeVito.
After Joe Pesci.
Because remember, they couldn't use their real name because this was.
Yep,
like,
you're right.
So
You're
that's
right. You
what
got
they
me on
did.
that one.
They
And
used-
I'm surprised I didn't realize I'm such a big Goodfellas fan.
I was watching that, and somebody was saying, what was his name, and I kept thinking,
Yeah, I knew.
the shoebox. Oh, Tommy, go get your shine box. That's what I remember the guy's name. I forgot his name.
Yeah,
His
Tommy
name
DeVito. He called him Tommy DeVito.
How funny is that?
That's funny. Yeah. What do they call him? They call him Chicken Cutlet or something? Or
Yeah, Tommy Cutlet.
Tommy Cutlets. He lives with
How
his
about
mother.
Jay Cutler? It had Jay Cutler, but not Cutler. It's very funny.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, that's it for Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching both episodes. And hope we did it justice.
Hey, Mike, have you noticed that a lot of our old video are getting a lot of comments now?
Yeah, I've noticed that a little bit.
I'm good. I guess people look. Yeah, you know what I've been doing. Sometimes I've been hashtags in all our video.
Yeah.
To try to reach new people because we didn't have that much hashtag, but so I'm putting a lot of hashtag on the old show to get more. So who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Could one old show could come back big time. You never know.
Because a lot of people comment on the Richard Hell. They just saw that show. How
that
long
one exploded.
Over a year?
It exploded out of nowhere. I don't know where that somebody got. Did you rehash that? Is that one that you?
I hashtag all of that. I'm doing it slowly, but it takes a little while. You got to go back. It's a pain in the ass, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going back with the Son of Sam Chronicles and re-putting all them out.
Yeah.
With a little commentary. So next month, will be February. It's Black History Month.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the great Smokey Robinson and also Berry Gordy, who started Motown. And what do we got coming up in March? I think we're going to be talking a little punk in March. Give me a second here. March we're going to be talking about DOA, the great punk band, and Bad Religion. Okay. And then in April, we're going to be talking about The Cult, and we're going to do a making of. We haven't done a making of in a while. The making of the Sex Pistols' Nevermind the Bollocks album.
Oh yeah. You know what? Send me a thing of the schedule. Also, you know what I think? We always done the best 5 albums. How about we do the best punk albums? We never just put punk out. The best punk albums of all time. Best punk album to listen before you die.
Okay. All right. We'll work on something like that, And I know I want to do a special St. Patty's show on the Pogues. We might get that in there, hopefully. Yeah. So we might have 3 podcast for March.
Yeah,
here
that
on
would be
the
good
Rock
because
Show.
we just did the Shane. The Shane McGowan show is doing good.
Yeah. So that's what we got coming up, people. And where can we find you, Rob? What's your handle?
You can find me at Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, and at Getting Lumped Up. You type in Getting Lumped Up and you get all my handles. And that's the way you can find me. And also go to the Getting Lumped Up YouTube channel where you find all these great videos and subscribe and like, because that's the way we're trying to
That's
build
what you
a
gotta do, people. Yep, subscribe and like. If you're looking for me, I'm Rock Go Mike on Facebook, and also the Facebook has the Rock Show podcast group page with Rocker Mike and Rob Rossi. Please subscribe to that and participate. Also, Rocker Mike on Instagram, Rocker Mike 212 actually, and that's the same on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And Rocker Mike on MeWe, Getter, Truth Social, all the others, just Rocker Mike. So if you just Google Rocker Mike, you'll find all my different spots out there.
All kind of handles.
All kinds of handles. Yep.
And Mike, another excellent job on the research. This is Led Zeppelin Part 2, episode 193. We are 7 episodes away for the milestone 200 episode.
Yeah.
So, thank you for the support through the year, because Mike goes through a lot of hassle to get these special notes, do the work, watch a bunch of documentary. So he does a lot of things.
It's a labor of love. We've been doing it now. In March, March will be 5 years, Rob.
Yeah, pretty soon we'll be with a gray hair and glasses and the home attendant watching us.
No, my hair already fell out, so
I still got some.
you got a little left.
I got a little fuzz. I'm waiting for it to get so I can get the free haircuts. No more.
All right, what do we say all the time, Rob?
Remember, people, don't get drunk.
Get lumped up.
And we see you next time.
Take care, people.
I wanna get lumped up tonight. Listen to Rob Rossi and Rocker Mike on the only podcast that I'll hear that won't make me wanna rip off my ears.